You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
The Pet Doctor is sponsored by Ellie Mae Pet Supplements. Visit us at battle-cancer.com for more information on how Ellie Mae supplements can help your dog.
Is your pet stressed out? Does your pet need annual vaccines? Which pet is best for a child? Would you know if your dog was in pain? Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor, where you'll learn everything about keeping your pet healthy and happy. From pet care, pet meds and grooming, to pet food, pet insurance, and dental care, this is the place to find out everything there is to know about pet wellness. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets, because it's your pet. Health matters. Please welcome your Pet Doctor host, veterinary media consultant and veterinarian, Dr. Bernadine Cruz.
No matter the month, there always seems to be an excuse for a party. New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, Super Bowl, birthdays, anniversary. Americans love to celebrate life. These festivities also include the furry members of our households. With a bit of planning and keeping their safety, as well as that of other guests in mind, everyone can have a howling good time. So sit, stay, and listen to this announcement. I'll be right back.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
Did you know cancer is the #1 cause of death in dogs? 1 out of every 3 dogs is affected by cancer at some point during his lifetime, and half of those dogs affected die. Shocking, isn't it? Symptoms of dog cancer are nonspecific and often lead to a late diagnosis of the disease. But before it reaches an advanced or incurable stage, cancer exhibits mild but recurring symptoms. If you think your dog is losing weight, has a loss of appetite, looking dull and listless, is non-social, or has any sores, swellings, bumps, or lumps, or abnormal growth anywhere, it's time to visit the vet to make sure everything's well. This message is brought to you by Ellie Mae Pet Supplements. Ellie Mae is an animal healthcare company that creates products which focus on improving the overall health and quality of life for your much-loved pet. Visit us at www.battle-cancer.com for more information on dog cancer and how Ellie Mae supplements can help your dog.
Is the coast clear?
Yes! Let's go!
Are you sure they went to Petco?
Where else would they go?
Whoopsie!
Calm down!
I smell presents!
Go to PetLifeRadio.com/Petco and get up to 40% off hundreds of holiday items at Petco. PetLifeRadio.com/Petco.
Uh-oh, step on it!
Okay!
Ow, not on my tail!
Petco, where the pets go.
Hi everybody, I'm Megan Blake here with my sidekick Super Smiley, the giant mutt and spokes dog for throwaways. You're listening to Pet Life Radio, and I'd like to tell you about our brand new show, A Super Smiley Adventure. Our show explores adventures with animals. They can be traveling, out in the world trips, or inner journeys where our animals lead us to inspiration and self-discovery, or just plain fun adventures. Join us here on Pet Life Radio on A Super Smiley Adventure. Good boy.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to The Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Okay, it's coming, the holidays. Right now I'm getting all ready to have people over the house for Christmas. And you may be doing the same thing too. Oftentimes, this is a real test of your pet security being around other people. Myself, it's a rather quiet home, so when all of a sudden somebody knocks at the door, my cats are gone. They scoot, they're under the bed, and eventually they'll start coming out to say hello. But some people aren't as fortunate. Instead of bolting and getting under the bed, that pet may bolt out the door. So I'd like you to kind of plan ahead. Think of what you can do to make sure that this is a holiday season, no matter, again, if it's Valentine's, anniversaries, parties, whatever, that your pet is safe and your guests are safe. So number 1, what can we do for the pets? Well, if you know, like myself, that I have kitties that aren't going to be really too enthused about having people over the house, you can always just small dog, cat, even large dog, put them in that back bedroom, close the door. If you have friends with small children that are coming over, or those nieces and nephews, little creatures like that, they'll sometimes want to open that door and get in there and see the kitty. Where's the kitty? I want to see the kitty. What can you do? I did this several years ago when I had some younger nieces and nephews. Made a sign, put it on the door and saying, Santa's Workshop, keep out or you get no presents. It worked amazingly well. So that's something that you can do. Small dogs, cats, if you think that somebody may be opening the door, or you might not have that back bedroom. You may have the small condo or the just studio apartment where there's no place for them to get away. Have a crate. Your cat or dog can spend a couple of hours in a crate and really be quite safe. May want to put a little note on there, I nibble on fingers, just in case somebody wants to stick fingers through that grating. All right, that's not going to work. Your pet hates to be in a crate, just yowls or cries or barks or carries on, really wants to be with everyone that's over there for the party. Next idea is you might want to take it to a friend's home. They can always pet sit for you if you have that really good friend. The other idea, it's going to maybe cost you a little bit more, but taking that pet to a kennel. Kennels or catteries are a nice, safe way so you know they're not going to scoot out the door. Okay, kennels, catteries, good ideas, but how do you know if it's going to be a safe one? Plan ahead. If you know that holidays coming up or people are going to be visiting and you don't want that pet in the home, check out the cattery, check out the kennel. Call them ahead of time saying, hi, I would like to have a tour of the facility. It's really appropriate to call and not just kind of drop in. You want to have people come to your home, but sometimes just dropping in is not the best. You haven't had a chance to put everything away, get everything clean, and get everything ready for inspection, so to speak. Well, the same thing holds true for that cattery or kennel. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them know that you're coming. So set up that appointment, stop on in, get a tour. It starts the minute you drive into their parking lot. What does it look like? Is the area clean? Does it look safe? Does it look secure? As you come in through the door, how does it smell? If it smells like, oh my goodness, there's just so much urine smell in the air, or it smells like poop, no, this is not a place. Sure, every once in a while there is going to be an accident and the pet or cat or dog just pooped in the reception area or just let loose with one in the back. Okay, look around, see if it's clean. Have them take you on a tour. Do the animals look happy? If it's an area that just cats and dogs are next to each other, that poor little cat may be just squished in the back of that cage, not looking really happy. There are going to be some pets that don't respond well to boarding, no matter what the facility is like. So look at the general population. Are they happy looking? Do they have food? Do they have bedding? Do they have toys? It's not always a good idea to have small toys, bedding in constantly from home to that facility, because if it's something that you really care for, this is a rather expensive bed, it's a rather expensive toy, maybe get lost. Animals sometimes eliminate on these items and will get them dirty, and they need to be taken out and cleaned and hopefully back in with your pet. But trying to keep track, especially over busy times in a boarding facility, getting that particular toy back to that specific pet doesn't always happen. So keep in mind, if you're going to take something, they may not get it back to you. Ask ahead of time, is it acceptable? Some facilities say, nope, we don't want to have the responsibility. Small toys can also, or blankets can also be a real source of problems. In my own hospital, people have brought in bedding that a pet will tear apart, and then you try to literally piece it all together again because did the pet ingest it? And foreign material being ingested, like cloth, does not show up on an x-ray. So not a good idea sometimes if a pet is known to destroy things, and especially if it's known to eat things, to take that along with you. Ask what vaccines they require, and if they require vaccines and your pet's not up to date, Don't wait till the day ahead of time to have it done. You need some time for that vaccine to really build up immunity in your pet. So check with your veterinarian, see if your pet's up to date on vaccines. If it's not, if at all possible, several weeks ahead of time, get it in, get it updated. Also make sure that its flea control is up to date. Being a veterinarian here in Southern California, we have year-round flea issues. So we don't want somebody else bringing fleas into the environment. So we hope that they've taken care of the flea situation at home. If not, you can ask, so if my pet starts to itch and starts to pick up some fleas, what do you do for flea control? There are some very safe, effective products that have a short action of activity, and they may just go ahead and administer that to your pet in case somebody else brought in a load of fleas. If they're going to be bathing before your pet comes home, even the best facilities, cats and dogs, they're laying in their kitty boxes for the cats, even if they're provided with their own extra bed. For whatever reason, cats always seem to like to curl up in their cat box. So that litter box might not always be 100% clean, and your pet may come home looking and smelling a bit on the stinky side. So ask if they can be bathed before coming home. Some facilities do it complimentary, depending on how many days your pet is there. Some of them will charge. Believe me, it's usually best to have them coming home nice and clean and smelling fresh, so you want to give them that hug as soon as you pick them up. Other things to be aware of. There are some catteries that have group play areas. This works well if your cat is one that likes to interact with others. Sometimes they may just have a private area so that kitty can get out of its cage, stretch its little paws. There is a facility here in Southern California, South Orange County, that has trees that they can climb up and down, so they're artificial trees. And in the middle are parakeets. Kitties love this because the cat can just sit there and go, I can smell those little feathers. I just want to play. But they can't get to them. But it just gives them something to distract them as they're not at home with you all the time. What else to be assured of when your pet goes to a kennel? If it's a dog, for instance, you'll want to make sure that it can't accidentally bolt out a back door and out into the wilds all by itself, and that wilds may be a busy street. So if a pet is going to be taken out for some exercise outside of the four walls of the kennel, ask how they make sure that that pet is not going to get loose. Sometimes double leashes, having a harness on the pet, is a better way to make sure they're not going to get out. If there's going to have a collar, that the collar is secure, that they also have name tags on that has your name and number as well as the number for the facility. Because you might be on a vacation to Kauai and they just can't get in touch with you, whoever finds the pet. But if they have the number on the collar with the name of the pet for your local kennel, they can give them a call and get them back. It is always a horrid thing to come back and find out your pet has escaped. But see what they can do. Make sure that it's going to be safe if it's taken outside of the facility. If you say, I just don't want that headache, I don't want my pet outside of this building, let them know. Does your pet need to be on certain medication? Bring it along with you. If your pet maybe has medical conditions, or you're just afraid that, what if something comes up? What do? Do you have a veterinarian on staff? Do you call my veterinarian? How can you transport my pet to my veterinarian? These are all questions to ask before you drop your pet off. So do your homework, look around. Speaking of backing up 2 seconds, about identification, having a collar that's on your pet at all times. Microchips. You're wondering what to get that pet for Christmas. Well, your pet may think that it's right up there with new underwear for yourself or socks. Having your pet microchipped is such a perfect way of safeguarding your pet. The microchips will range in cost from $20 to $40 depending on who's implanting it and what type of services come along with it. It's really not painful. If you've ever had your ears pierced, it's about the same type of temporary ooch, and then it's done. So each chip has its own unique number. They are registered to a particular company. There are services that some of these companies provide that if a pet gets lost, they can even ship the pet back to you. So check with your veterinarian, check with your local animal control services. What chips do they recommend in your area? Because different chips seem to have different penetration in the market. So you want the one that is most commonly used in your area. Okay, let's go back. Your pet's at home with you, and you're going to have company coming to the door. You have a dog. How can you make sure that the pet's not going to be jumping all over them, not scooting out the door? All right, again, one of these things, plan ahead. So if you have a dog, it's great to have it well trained, well socialized. Have it learn how to sit. Nothing in life should be free for that dog. So if it wants to be fed, make it sit. It wants to go outside, make it sit. It wants to play with you, make it come to you. It doesn't always have to be the same command, the same behavior. But sitting is a great one. So now somebody comes to the door, before it has a chance to jump up and get their little paws all over them and get them dirty, just command them to sit. It's now at your side. The person come in. And sometimes it's a good idea. Here's this big person, and for instance, you might have that little chihuahua, or you could have a cocker spaniel who's a little bit nervous about this person bending over them, lording over them, and oops, turns over, pees on itself. That's a lot of fun. Submissive urination. So if you have the person come in, the pet is seated, and they just acknowledge the pet, but go on their way, it's like, they didn't even think I was cute. They didn't even bend down to pet me. But it gives that pet an opportunity to say, okay, I can just relax a little bit now. This person's in the house. It's somebody different. Once you release it from the sit, and that person can now just maybe kneel down to their level, going, okay. They came to visit everyone else and me too. I don't need to get too upset about this, so I don't need to pee on myself. And that makes it a much nicer introduction. If you have small children that are coming in, and especially if your pet is not used to the excitement that small children can bring to a home, have that pet again in a sit, and also explain to the child how to introduce themselves to the pet. And this works for other pets outside of the home. Tell them to always ask, is it okay to pet your dog? Just don't have them go running up and sticking their hand out or trying to pet it. It can scare a pet, and they may accidentally get bitten or snipped at, and you just don't need that for the holidays or at any time. So they ask first, can I pet your dog? Then extend their hand in a fist. Let the pet, the dog, sniff that hand, going, okay, smells like something yummy. Maybe I'll just lick it a little bit. Okay. And then have the child quietly sit and let the animal approach them. If your pet is scared, if your pet just doesn't seem to be comfortable, don't force the issue. This isn't the time. Go ahead and say, hon, we'll go ahead and Fritz the dog will come back and we'll try it again later. But let me just put it in the other room and we'll try later. It's going to be a much better situation for all involved. Okay, how about if you are going to be the person coming to somebody else's house with your pet? And it's going to be, maybe you're an out-of-town guest and you're going to be staying there. Ask ahead of time, do they really mind you bringing your pet to their home? It might be a situation that they have cats and dogs themselves, and adding one more to the mix might not be the best kind of a mix for that. So ask if you can bring it. If not, if you're going to be staying in a hotel, for instance, leave the pet at the hotel. Put the do not disturb sign on the door so the housekeeping staff isn't going to accidentally open the door and let that pet out. If you're going to be traveling with your pet and you're going to be, for instance, driving by car and going to that hotel, have that pet in a carrier, have it in a seatbelt if it's larger, in the back seat, because we know that sometimes disasters happen. You need to slam on the brakes and that pet can go flying, or you need to stop at a rest stop and that pet gets out. You don't need this hassle. Keep it in the crate, keep it in a seatbelt, keep it on a leash. So the pet is going to be much happier in a secure environment. When you do have to stop at a rest stop, what to do? Have it on a leash, have it out there, clean up after yourself. You don't want your pet to have access to other dogs' poop, and you don't want your dog's poop to be there for somebody else. Be a conscientious pet owner. Come with your poop bags, pick it up. Okay, what if you're going to be flying? Flying is one of the easiest ways, in some respect, of getting from here to there. If you're going to be flying and your pet needs to go in cargo, try to make sure that it's a direct flight. You don't want your pet stuck on the tarmac someplace. Depending on the time of year, if it's during the summer, they can overheat. During the winter, they can literally freeze to death. So try to get that direct flight. If it can't be a direct flight, have the minimum number of stops possible. If it's going to be in cargo, in the carrier, you don't want a huge one. You want one that's basically large enough to stand up, move around. Instead of putting blankies on the bottom of that carrier, go ahead, shred some newspaper. Make sure your pet has identification. That shredded newspaper can act as an insulation, and that can help keep your pet warm. If it poops or pees, now that poop and pee can ball up and make some poop mache. And now when you pick your pet up on the other end of that trip, thankfully, oh no, you just get your pet. It needs to be bathed because it's covered with all that. Not a lot of fun. So poop mache is easier to clean up. It keeps your pet warm in that shredded newspaper. Also, on the carrier, follow your mother's lead. If you've ever had to pick up your parent at the airport and you find, Mom, where's your luggage? And they go, okay, that one over there with all the chachi that's on it. I could never understand why my mom put these little bright yarn tassels all over her luggage. I thought it was really yucky. And then as I started traveling myself more, going, everyone has black luggage. After a while, all the luggage seems to look the same. So if you put something that's very distinctive on your luggage, it's easier to find. If you put something very distinctive on your pet's carrier, it's also easier to find. It's easier for those people who are moving the pet around from one spot to another to find it, to get it on that right carrier, to get it on that right plane. So think ahead. Put also a little 3x5 card on the top of that carrier. Hi, my name is Spot, and I am going to Baltimore, Maryland for the holidays. Please make sure I get there. Sounds kind of stupid, but it allows that person to know who this pet is and where it's going. It gives them a little personality, and sometimes they're just that wee bit nicer. So being nice, I'm going to take a nice break right now, give our sponsors a chance to give you some information that might be helpful, and we'll be right back.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
It's the holidays at PetSmart, so come one and all. There are hundreds of gifts for pets big and pets small. Toys only at PetSmart, so special and new. They'll love the gifts. You'll love the value. Hurry to PetSmart today for your very best friend and save 30 to 50% before the holiday ends.
The holidays are just around the corner. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. So shop early and save money. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart today.
The Boo Boo Loon Pet Recovery Collar is an innovative inflatable product that comfortably restricts pets from harming most surgical wounds, skin disorders, and obsessive licking or scratching. It's the humane alternative to the hard plastic cone and other devices. The Boo Boo Loon is easy to use and designed to be soft, fully adjustable, and pillow-like, allowing for unrestricted vision and complete freedom of movement. Sizes range from extra small to extra large. So join the Boo Boo Lution. Become a Boo Boo Buddy on Facebook or check out boobooloon.com. BOOBOOLOON.com.
Dyson.
The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. To order your Dyson Animal Vac, go to PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson. PetLifeRadio.com/Dyson to order your Dyson Animal Vac today.
Dyson. Music to your ears.
The Pet Doctor is sponsored by Ellie Mae Pet Supplements. Ellie Mae is an animal healthcare company that creates products which focus on improving the overall health and quality of life for your much-loved pet. Visit us at www.battle-cancer.com for more information on dog cancer and how Ellie Mae supplements can help your dog.
Hi, this is Ken Jones from the Prince of Ponds podcast. The frogs are shaking the shakers, the turtles are hitting the slapsticks, and the koi are blowing the trumpets. It's party time here at Prince of Ponds. Out under the swaying palm trees, the pond fairies are kicking up their heels and spinning in delight in the twilight. Here on Pet Life Radio, it's time to celebrate the magic of ponds, waterfalls, fountains, and water gardens at the Prince of Ponds podcast.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in and we'll see you now.
All right, so you're now going to have people over the house, but you want to decorate that house before they come over. Again, the holiday doesn't matter as to what the decorations are going to be. It always makes things a lot more festive. So if you're going to have streamers for New Year's Eve, or you want to make sure the pet is not going to be able to ingest it, the lights that you put up on that holiday tree, you want to make sure that the pet's not going to chew on them. You're going to have the menorah. You're going to have candles that are out there. You want to make sure that your pet's not going to singe its little whiskers or burn its tail. Get it up, get it out of the way. That Christmas tree. It looks a bit hokey, but you may need to literally secure it to the wall. Cats and dogs think, oh, wow, you brought in a tree. The dog may think, it's a good place for me now to eliminate. I don't have to go outside. It's cold. They brought that tree in. My own indoor plumbing. Isn't life wonderful? The cat, especially if it's a kitten, climbing to the top of that tree. You don't need an angel on the top. You got your kitty. Not a good idea as you hear that crash in the middle of the night. Then those balls that are hanging down, the decorations that are just so fun to play with. Okay, if it's made out of glass, knock it down. Now you have glass in paws. If you've ever stepped on glass, you know how hard it is to find it. Swallowing these ornaments can also just be a great reason, not a good reason, to end up at the emergency clinic. So if you're going to have decorations on a tree, secure it to the tree. You may want to make sure that the electrical cords are secured to the wall, or you just don't have them. Have a light shining on it instead. You may need to find that decorations are all somewhat waist level and higher. It looks a bit strange, but anyone coming over will go, oh yeah, you have a pet. They've done the same thing probably if they've had small children. Keep it up, out of the way. For the holidays or any time that I have to wrap a present, people know what gifts are for me because, number one, it doesn't have a ribbon on it. My pets love to chew on ribbons, and curly ribbons are so easy to swallow. The other thing is all my presents seem to have little holes in it, just little fine holes, look like pinpricks. No, it's for my young cat likes to chew on packages. So be careful what you have in those packages. You don't want your pet to have problems with it. So falling objects, be careful. Candles, be careful. And if your pet has respiratory issues, bringing in that fresh tree, having potpourri, having scented candles, these are all things that can really irritate the airways. And it's not just for cats or dogs. If you have birds, having some of these potpourri, the scented ones, these scented candles can really cause problems for their airways. So if you notice that pet having the bit of a cough, it may not be the hairball for the cat. It may be something like allergic airway disease. So be careful. When in doubt, put it away. Other things that just make the holiday so much fun. This is my downfall. Food. The sweet things. You can put it off all year and you see favorite things from your childhood. Thing that mom used to make for you, the grandma used to make for you. And now it's there and it's like, okay, I'm not going to eat all day and I'm just going to, my dinner is going to be cookies. Well, your pets, their noses work really well and they smell that turkey that's been roasting all day, the ham, your chicken noodle soup, whatever it's going to be. These are things that they want to try it too. So if it's on the table, you turn away. We've all seen those YouTube videos of that pet kind of mowing down all of the items on that buffet table, the pet knocking over the buffet table and just sitting there and feasting. Well, maybe it doesn't get on the table, but it can knock over the trash. And then when it gets into the trash, you don't know exactly what it got into. Yes, we know that things like chocolate aren't good for a pet. And yes, chocolate is all nicely wrapped under the tree. Those noses, dogs can find it. If they can find, you have bomb-sniffing dogs, well, there's chocolate-sniffing dogs. And you come home from being out and the packages are all ripped up. I've seen dogs who've found like those Hershey Kisses. Somehow they seem to take all the foil off, but they can eat the chocolate. Or all of a sudden you find they start pooping out these little bright pieces of cellophane or these bright pieces of aluminum foil. Yep, there was that candy. It went through. Depending on the size of the pet, depending on the type of chocolate, it can be toxic. It may not be that the chocolate itself was causing the problem, but if you have a small dog that has a heart problem, chocolate contains a lot of sodium, salt. So that little bit of sodium can put a pet that's just teetering on the edge of going in congestive heart failure into heart failure. So you're really not sure what it got into, how much chocolate got into. Is this concern? Is it just going to have a tummy ache? What to do, who to call. Some numbers that should always be by your phone, on speed dial in your smartphone are going to be your local veterinarian, the local emergency clinic, and a pet poison hotline. You don't want to call 911. You can, but they're going to say, hey, we don't answer pet questions. I don't know about it. It's not my field. Hang up. Call somebody else. You've wasted some precious time. So have the number, a great service, and you can go online to get a lot of good information too, is Pet Poison Helpline. So their website is www.petpoisonhelpline, all one word, .com. Their phone number is 800-213-6680. Again, 800-213-6680. There's other things that we should avoid for our pets to eat. We don't want them to get into onions, garlic, macadamia nuts. And one of the things that the FDA recently has a warning against is chicken jerky. Dogs love the stuff. And some of it is seeming to cause GI issues, vomiting or diarrhea, and you don't want to end up at the emergency clinic with a pet having diarrhea on Christmas Eve. The other thing is that it can also cause some irreversible kidney damage. So right now, as the jury is still out as to exactly what is causing this, read the label. It may be best just to use it as the occasional treat or find some other treat. Speaking of treats and things that pets like to eat, people are always wanting to know, what are some safe treats for my dog to eat, or what are some safe gifts for me to give to my cat or dog? Probably one of the most important things to give your cat or dog is the attention. That's what they really want. They want you. Sure, there are those cute little stuffed toys, and there's the laser pointers for cats, and all those things are marvelous. When you get a pet, you want to make sure that any toy that you get is going to be safe. So look for noses, little things can be pulled off of stuffed toys, bits of clothing that can come off and they can swallow. Like getting a gift for a child, it needs to be safe for that appropriate size of child and age of child. So if you have a little dog or a big dog, you don't want to get a small toy, something they can swallow. If it's a cat, you want to make sure that it's something that's not going to hurt itself with. A clothing. We love getting clothing and dressing our pets up. It's cute. And I think for some pets, they really need it, especially if you live in a cold area. They may need that jacket. Or if you have the older pet, and here in Southern California, if it gets down to 50, we think we're freezing. So you may need that little jacket. Or if it's cold and rainy, they may need little snow boots or little rain boots. Make sure they can't ingest them, that it's not going to be an obstruction to their vision, that it's not going to be a constricting band somewhere and cut off circulation. They're not going to choke themselves on it because that little turtleneck sweater is just way too tight. So yes, it's cute, but watch them, see how they respond. I think we've all put clothing on cats and they just will sit there and they'll try to get out of it very quickly and they tumble down the stairs. No, be careful. Plan ahead. Watch what they're doing. See how they're going to respond to it. So another gift that you can get your pet is a collar. When you get a collar for a cat, this is perfect because I think all pets should always wear some form of identification, even if they're totally indoor cats, because earthquakes, fires, floods, things happen when your inside pet is now outside. And even though they know their name, it's been some type of catastrophe. They're scared and they may not come to you. And it may be days or weeks before somebody can get their hands on them. So if they are wearing some type of identification, it's going to be a quick way to know who is this pet and how to get it back home again to you. Microchips, again, are perfect. Your veterinarian can implant it really very inexpensively and painlessly. But identification collars for a cat, you always want to make sure that it's a breakaway collar. I personally don't like a regular belt buckle type of a collar because if a cat gets caught, it's stuck. It can hang itself. These stretchy ones with a bit of elastic in it for a cat, they seem to get out of those very quickly. The breakaway collars, if they put enough pressure on it, they can get out of it. The caveat to that is you want to make sure that whatever type of collar is not so tight or they haven't grown, especially if it's a kitten or a puppy, that it's grown and now it's too tight. So as long as you can get, for a woman, about 2 of your fingers, your index finger and your middle finger under it with a little bit of a wiggle, perfect. They can still breathe. You don't want it so loose, however, that they're going to accidentally get it caught in their mouth. That can be a real problem also. The breakaway collars, the caveat, tested a few times. My own cat, my little baby cat, Zimzala, Zim was outside. I was doing something in the house and finally said, okay, let me go check on her. She was outside playing. As I walked out the door, I heard this horrid, horrid noise. It was like an animal being tortured. It's like, oh my goodness, what is this? I found that a chair, a wrought iron chair, she had somehow gotten on it, had fallen over, and I thought she was trapped under it. And then I realized that on part of this wrought iron, her collar had gotten caught. And she was just at that right angle where she didn't have enough distance to be able to push and pop open her breakaway collar. So even with breakaway collars, they can still have problems, but it's a whole lot safer. So watch your pets, check those collars, make sure that they are going to be safe. So that's kind of my ideas of what to do for holiday safety. No matter the time of year, you are the most important thing for your pet to make sure that your pet enjoys the season as much as you do. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you to Mark Winter, my producer. He's awesome. Have yourself a fabulous holiday season. And please tune in next week. We'll have more information on how you can be the best pet owner possible. Take care.
Pets can be a wonderful addition to your life. Keeping them healthy and happy is important. Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor with veterinary media consultant and veterinarian Dr. Bernadine Cruz. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. The Pet Doctor, on demand every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
The Pet Doctor is sponsored by Ellie Mae Pet Supplements. Ellie Mae is an animal healthcare company that creates products which focus on improving the overall health and quality of life for your much-loved pet. Visit us at www.battle-cancer.com for more information on dog cancer and how Ellie Mae supplements can help your dog.